I want to talk to you something that's a little bit further afield than our local community right now. Just by way of background, for those of you who might not have heard this story before, 2.5 years ago, PAPSDA adopted a little village in rural Cambodia. And now together, working with ADRA and On, a local guy that we've employed to be PAPSDA's hands and feet when we can't be there, there's some really cool changes happening that's making life a happier and a healthier and a more hope-filled place to be. I get, let me see if I can make this work. I get an email report from On every Friday afternoon, and he tells me all the cool things that have been happening in our village. And so today, I just want to share some of those photos with you and just give you a really quick update as to what's going on in our little village. The preschool that we built 1.5 years ago is going really well. We've got 25 kids roughly in the morning, just over 25 in the afternoon. The kids love it. They want to be there whether school's on or not, and they turn up on the weekends and in holiday time. Our first group of kids that did 6 months in the preschool and have now done 12 months in the local primary school have just finished grade 1. They are all way streets ahead of the other kids, and it's one thing is that they've had some good background and they've learnt how to read and to write, but the main thing is that they've learnt how to learn. They've been taught how to think, and that's been a really intentional part, an intentional process, and we're setting these kids up to be lovers of learning for the rest of their lives. Our teacher is fantastic. Here she is. She and the teacher's aide work so hard to make a difference in the lives of their kids. All of their parents are illiterate, which means that the reading sessions that she does with these kids is so much more important than we can begin to imagine, particularly in a country where 40 years ago, when I was in primary school, all of the schools were closed, all of the books were burnt, and anyone who could read or write was killed. So this is a huge step forward for these kids. And as an added bonus, if you turn up at school and you're dirty, and I saw this happen when I was there in February, the teacher's aide will take you outside, strips them buff naked, washes them all over, shows them how to wash themselves, makes sure they know how to do it, dresses them again, and they come back into class. But I haven't got any photos of that because I'm not allowed to. But I actually do have photos and they're really cute. But as well as learning to read and write, our kids are learning how to grow food. Now, we might think that's basic, this is a rural community, but you've got to remember that the parents and the grandparents of these kids spent a huge amount of their time enveloped by the Pol Pot regime and then living in refugee camps. So these kids are learning to grow local vegetables at preschool. You can see things there that look like weeds and look like grass. Believe me, I've eaten them. They taste exactly like weeds and grass, but with a bit of hessian added in there. They're pretty bad, but these kids think they taste fantastic. It's local food for them. They now know how to grow it, and they can take it home, and they're teaching mum and dad how to grow it, which is really awesome. Literacy of any kind is very, very limited in our village. And here you'll see a bunch of second-hand quality computers that David Harvey found for us, and we've taken over there. On every lunchtime for an hour has over 30 people who come in that want to learn to read and write. He thought, oh, I don't know if there'll be anyone who's interested. There's 30 people that are there, rain, hail or shine, every day at lunchtime. And now that he's introduced the computer learning for the more advanced students, they are so excited. So that's the adults sitting at the little kids' desks at lunchtime. Almost half of the families in our village now have a toilet. When we started working there 2.5 years ago, there was 120 houses, 2 toilets. Now we have 57. This is Pran, and just this last week, Pran, working with his neighbours, has completed a toilet for his family, which means they don't have to go and squat in the rice paddy anymore. We're making it, they're making it a safer environment and a healthier environment for his family and for his kids. And the really, really cool thing is that the villagers now know how to do this themselves. They don't need us to be building toilets and water tanks for them. They still need some help funding it, but they know how to do it themselves, which I think is just fantastic. And these families, and families like Pran, all have a toilet because someone here at PAPSDA said, hey, I can contribute some money. I want to make a difference. I want to provide some dignity and some health for a family like that. And I think that's pretty cool. Now, if you look at this next photo, these kids look pretty excited because there's an ADRA group from another ADRA Connections trip that's come through and given them toothbrushes and toothpaste. So that's why they're excited. When I see this photo, why I'm excited is because those kids are wearing brand new little blue shirts, little navy skirts, and the boys are in little black shorts. All of those school uniforms have been made by the ladies who started the sewing training in November last year. And so they're now doing some really, really cool things. These ladies now have a new skill that they can use in so many different ways, and to be honest, there's a huge variety amongst the 13 ladies who completed the course. Some of them are just sewing for their kids. A couple of them are doing really well at the local market. They're selling things and their own creations and doing great. Some of the others are working along with contracts, and if you look in the bot to do different sewing things, in that bottom corner you'll see some of the ladies meeting with some ADRA staff in Cambodia, and they're currently working on getting a contract to make some uniforms for some other schools in the area. And the cool thing about that is that someone here at PAPSDA said, hey, I've got $150 that I might need, but actually I'm going to give this to a lady so she can have a sewing machine and she can provide for her family. And I think that's pretty cool. And finally, here is Son. Now I asked on Thursday, I said, when you're in the village, can you get a photo of someone with their chickens? So here is Son with her chickens, and you can see she loves them, even if she holds some of them by their feet. But that's pretty standard in Cambodia. Son got some funding from somebody here at PAPSDA who said, I want to help someone to be able to provide better for their family, and someone from PAPSDA provided for the cost of the walls. They provided her with the little trays and the things that you need, and they provided her with somewhere between 5 and 10 little baby chicks. Since November, she's been raising chickens. She has now got 40, but she's been selling them in the meantime. It's been a really bad rice year this year in our village. The rain didn't come at the right time, and rice was the only income for their family. Now they've got chickens as well, so it's really increased their income and it's increased their nutrition, which is fantastic, and all made possible by somebody who's sitting right here today. You know, in just 8 weeks' time, our next team heads off to Cambodia, which is pretty cool. And so over the next month of October, we're going to be sharing and talking a little bit more about what is happening in Cambodia and how we can all become a part of that and making a difference. We're also going to be having a special focus on ADRA, because we wouldn't be able to do any of this if it wasn't for ADRA and being able to partner with ADRA and do some cool things with them. You know, when you look at these photos, you might think, wow, life is so different in Cambodia, and it truly is. It's very, very different to our lives. But the reality of it is, the people are really very, very much the same on the inside. They just want to be healthy, they want to be happy, they want to have happy families. And I think it's so cool that a little church here in South Auckland can be a part of helping them to do that. And in the same process, we're getting to learn so much as well. So we'll update you some more in the next few weeks. Thanks, everyone.